between Cockeysville and Towson. If you're watching, listening, you should be in your safe place. A little bit of good news. They actually dropped the warning, I think, on this cell here.
In this cell in the eastern
go back to your warning page.
Okay.
I think there's only 3 or 2 warnings in effect now, which is good news, but don't go out of your safe place because another one could be issued at any moment the way these things are going.
Let's get the wider picture of the radar and see where we, in fact, can almost give you the all clear as far as right now. So that's where we are right now. Areas west of 83 in Baltimore County, you're probably in the clear
pretty much
for the most part, in the northern part of the county. Same thing in Howard. Looks like the storm is almost completely out of Howard. So western Baltimore, Howard, Carroll County, those areas are getting in the clear as we speak as far as this line of storms that's had a history of producing tornadoes. But here in the city, we've got that cell that's been the most damaging one coming up toward the southern part of Baltimore City. And all along Interstate 95, very heavy rain, flooding.
I was just going to say that to you. The big story now, perhaps in that part of Hartford and Cecil counties, is the heavy rain. Reports of up to 3.5 inches of rain. Some people that have, backyard weather stations in that area. So that's our radar trying to estimate how much rain fell. What do you got on the click there? 4.7 inches.
Yeah.
That's
that
significant,
the
and that's on 95.
Yeah.
So if you're, again, listening to us on the radio and heading towards the Abingdon area on 95, either from the north or from the south, there could be significant standing water and flooding on I-95 and areas around there.
Yep. Okay, so let's see if we can get a bead on this storm that's approaching Baltimore City. It looks like it's just west of Interstate 95. Coming up toward maybe, what is that? Is 166, is that Frederick Road? I can't remember the name of that road there. I believe it might be.
I don't know.
Yeah, so somewhere right down there, just south of Arbutus, moving up toward Lansdowne and tracking up toward the northeast is the way this cell has been coming in. It looks a little weaker, but still something there. Moving up right toward, out of north of Elk Ridge, up toward Lansdowne, toward the Interstate 95, 695 interchange there. It looks like is that where that cell is going to be tracking. So I don't know if we have any cameras down there at 695 and 95 in the Arbutus area. See if we can maybe get a picture of what the weather is like down that way.
There's got to be traffic cameras in there somewhere.
But
if you guys could find one in the control room, that'd be great.
That's the one that has prompted the warning for Baltimore City. Meantime, up in central Baltimore County, we've got a warning until 9 p.m. for a storm that has been pulsing really quite a bit. Now it looks like, I don't know, what do you think, Tony? It looks like at the core of it, is, as far as rotation, would
a little
go
further
south.
Yeah, I think they're building south, just like you said. So maybe more towards the Timonium area.
Right.
Should be heading to your safe place. Got an interesting, there's 95, what is that?
95 south at 195?
195, okay. I mean, it's obviously raining there. I got an interesting tweet, Tom, from somebody who went through the cell that's in Baltimore County now. They were in Carroll County. And they said there were leaves falling from the sky.
Whoa.
That means that perhaps some sort of updraft or maybe a funnel picked up a lot of debris off of the trees, carried it over, and is depositing it someplace else. You know, I don't see stuff like that very often here, but he showed me the video. You can see it on my Twitter feed there from Carroll County of leaves falling from the sky, which is maybe an indication that there was some kind of funnel there when it went through Carroll.
So these are our safety tips, which we've gone over a couple of times.
I'll read those while you get a drink of water.
For sure.
We're taking turns taking drinks of water here. Head to your safe place if you're under one of the warnings, or basically anywhere in Baltimore County, Baltimore City, east of 83. Just go to your safe place right now. Inside, probably down towards, if you can get away from the windows, if you go to an interior room away from the windows, that's the best place for you. If you're living in an apartment building, you got to move away from the windows. Perhaps the hallway is the best place for you if you live in an apartment building. So go away from the windows. That's the basic tenement here if you're trying to dodge the storm. Get away from the windows. Don't take the time to try to take video or anything like that. Everybody wants that viral video, and believe me, I appreciate, you know, all the social media feeds and everything, but don't take the time to go out and try to, you know, get a picture or video. It's just, it's too dangerous.
Okay, so here's a wrap-up on the warnings. At one time, we had 5 or 6 going at one time. Now we're tracking 2 possible tornado areas in our region, and most of them look a lot weaker. That is definitely good news, although they canceled the warning up here in Harford County, but it definitely looks like there's
a little something
rotation
there. So, yeah, anywhere in Hartford, Cecil, Baltimore County, Baltimore City, especially east of 83, you got to take shelter.
So these are the hot spots that we see here where there could be some rotation, just south of between Cockeysville and Towson, really down near Timonium. Then in the far southwest part of Baltimore County, approaching the Baltimore City County line. And then possible rotation here, although the Weather Service has canceled that warning, but there still may be some rotation.
Could be a water spout going over the bay.
Yeah, there could be. And these are where the warnings are in effect and the time that they are in effect until. So 9 o'clock for that central Baltimore County storm, which is, I'm going to just see if we can get a better idea of where that is. It looks like it might be crossing 83 now, if there is rotation left with it. Although, still, even to the west of there, we'll see if anything new develops near Owings Mills. That's very weak, but this is a very broad, weak circulation from Cockeysville south to the Beltway along Interstate 83. But it looks like whatever is there is now crossing Interstate 83 and moving over toward York Road, and perhaps continuing east over into that eastern part of Baltimore County where all this seemed to have started many hours ago, it seems like to me. I don't know.
Well, it's been a long time,
Yeah.
that's for sure. And that
here's-
storm,
Yeah, look at this one.
going into Baltimore City now.
Yeah. looks like
This is the one, folks, that produced I'll call it a major tornado in Montgomery County. I'm not saying it's doing that right now, but we're basing a lot of this on history. And there's a Skycam picture in downtown Baltimore, in the thick of it, so to speak. I mean, it's, what time is it now? Okay, it's past sunset. I was going to say, it looked dark. It is dark. It's past sunset, 8:30. But you see a few flashes of lightning there. But if you were trying to see, I mean, now that it's dark, going outside and try to look for rotation or tornadoes and stuff like that, you're not going to see it. And this is actually a more dangerous time after sunset because you can't see it coming. And this is where you have to rely on the warnings and what we're telling you here, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to run outside, see if I can see something rotating.
Right, yeah. So 2 areas of concern right now as far as possible tornadoes go. Everybody getting the heavy rain, really. A lot of pockets of heavy rain. But these areas here, coming across the southern part of Baltimore City, is where we're concerned that long track possible tornado is continuing to show signs of rotation with that cell right near the I-95, 695 interchange in the Arbutus area, just to the west of Lansdowne and up toward Arbutus. It looks like that's the area that it could still have some rotation with winds circulating around that I-95, 695 interchange, actually. Right over the top of that is where it appears to be going at this time. And that is going to produce not only some damaging winds, but some very heavy rain as it makes its way through. The storm system has been dumping heavy rain all across the area. The winds have been kicking up.
And that's a pretty significant cell there. It's got, it looks like 45,000
That's
feet.
for sure. So we've seen some rotation with this one up to 47,000 feet. The rotation is sitting over here on the southwest or the western flank of it, and the clouds are billowing up all the way off to the east of it here, just over near Curtis Bay. So that is one of the bigger, more powerful cells we've seen today. And again, that's associated with that storm that did all that damage down in Montgomery County and tracked right across the eastern part of Howard County. You can see it right here. This is the motion over the past hour as it crossed eastern Howard County just to the west of Interstate 95 and is now moving up into southern Baltimore City.
It looks like it's building up a little bit again. It might be pulsing back into a stronger phase. Bill Cairns from NBC News, meteorologist, asked me, I don't know if he's watching us online, he says, do you know the last time that Baltimore City was under a tornado warning? I can't remember, but again, Tom is the weather encyclopedia.
I can't remember either. We'll have to go back.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look for Baltimore City to be in a tornado warning.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Was there an Amazon building or storage shed? Was that in the city? I can't remember if that was the city or not.
Yes, there was.
That
was in the city, but I don't remember what year that was. But
so, yeah,
it's
look
rare.
at this. Here's another one over here. And then we've got that one in the southwest part of Baltimore City. So they do look weaker. They don't look as distinct. They seem to be pulsing downward a little bit, but there are still areas of concern like this here in the eastern part of Baltimore County. We don't have a warning. I don't think they're in the warning. They're not. No, not yet. They may just barely clip it. But that definitely looks like something is trying to spin there in that part of eastern Baltimore County. while the original cell is now up into the city, it looks like.
I'm going to go.
I
Yeah, go
don't
ahead,
know.
Kai.
I was looking it up as you guys were talking. 2018, does that sound familiar?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably would have. Maybe that's the one where the Amazon facility was damaged.
Well, let's talk about that, though. Why is it so unusual, typically?
Yeah, well, I mean, we get tornadoes here. We'll average a few a year for sure. But to have an outbreak where you have multiple tornadoes like this in a short period of time, other than sometimes when we get tropical storms winding down in our area, those also will produce multiple weak tornadoes. But this one is just sort of unusual as far as just the number. So we do get tornadoes, just the number at one time. Usually the ingredients don't come together that would produce that sort of thing.
But particularly odd in Baltimore City, or unusual, I guess I should say?
Not particularly.
No?
I mean, the city wouldn't be any more unusual than any other location.
It's just
right.
any
Yeah.
more, like when was the last time a tornado hit your house, right? I mean, any pinpoint, any one location, have small odds of getting hit. It's just that Baltimore City hasn't been for a long time. Now, the Weather Service, Tom, is classifying the one in Baltimore City, Baltimore County as observed. Now, they didn't say anybody saw it, but they're seeing enough of a radar signature that they're calling this observed.
This one here, coming into the southern part of the,
Yeah. So
wow.
that means that at least they're seeing, and I haven't seen any reports of anybody actually witnessing tornado on the ground or funnel cloud, but they're seeing enough of a radar signature that, and this was just put out like 1 minute ago.
Okay.
They're calling it observed.
And this is in the Dover site. So the Dover site, which is hitting the storm higher up, and we saw this storm goes up 47,000 feet. This is showing the rotation there in that southern part of Baltimore County, Baltimore City. That may be well up into the storm, but it just shows you there is rotation with that. We go to the BWI radar, which is a lot closer, and we don't see a lot in the lower levels of this as far as rotation. And then the Sterling, Virginia one has some rotation indicated with it, with the winds going that way and this way. And so again, it looks like it is in the city right now, this cell, in some fashion. And you said they are saying
They're calling it observed. Now, again,
Okay.
the National Weather Service can slice a storm a little differently than us sometimes. So they're seeing enough to say observed for that. And I think they extended tornado warning out into
So
the
there you
southern
go.
part.
That's what we were talking about up
of,
there in
Harford County.
Yeah.
So with that cell that Tom was just pointing at right up there, getting ready to cross over into the bay, if you're watching near the water in that part of, is that south of Havre de Grace? You should go to your safe place immediately. Those two circles right there and the one near Cockeysville, those are the three areas that we're most concerned with at this time.
Yeah, so that, let's go back into the Baltimore County one and see if we can give folks a feeling for who's in the clear and who isn't. It looks like if we have rotation maintaining with this one, that rotation would be north of Timonium and perhaps south of Cockeysville, just passing north of Timonium right now and moving over toward 146. That'd be Delaney Valley Road, I believe, over that way. So it's between York Road and Delaney Valley Road if there is maintaining rotation. Again, this is on the radar. It may not be touching down to the ground, but that's where the Weather Service is a bit concerned as that system moves east.
Another little bit of good news. They let the warning for Baltimore County expire.
Okay, good.
So they're not seeing enough in that one to keep that warning going. So now
there
we're
you
down
go.
to 2 tornado warnings again.
Yeah.
Those, the one Baltimore City, the eastern part of Baltimore County, and southern Harford County.
Okay, Doug, where is this? This is 40 and 32 or 130? US 40
US 40
south?
south.
Yeah.
132, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's standing water there, man. You got to be careful. Again, Tom and I did this segment just at 4:15. A lot of people, they get upset. Oh, I don't want to turn around and go through a detour. But you don't know how deep that water is. So it only takes 12 inches of moving water to displace your vehicle,
And where do we have flood watches in effect right now?
or flood warnings
Flood
for
warnings.
that part of Harford County. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got flood warnings up there in Harford County.
In that red shade that, switch over to Weather 1 again real quick,
Even
guys.
Cecil County to Harford County. Watches in the city. We haven't had any warnings issued yet, but the heavy rain is just now getting in to the city, and these warnings go until 11:30 tonight. And we were talking about the fact, say it again, Doug? Aberdeen. The flooding we saw was Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, okay, well, that makes sense.
Okay, very good. And here's the 6-hour rainfall that we've seen across the area, and again, approaching like 5 inches almost.
Oh, man.
6 inches of rain there.
And that's right on 95, too.
Yeah,
Wow.
western part 3 inches there. So wide areas of 3 to 6 inches of rain coming down in some of these storms as they track their way through the area, and still producing some rotation in some of these storms as they move through. The good news, western sections, northern sections of Baltimore County are in the clear. All of Carroll County, looks like all of Howard County is in the clear. Now it's the city, the northern, very northern part of Anne Arundel, Hartford, Cecil, Kent County getting some pretty heavy rain in those locations as it moves off to the east of our area. But we're down to just 2 tornado warnings at this hour. That's good.
That's
for
a
sure.
good thing.
Yeah.
We're whittling it down. But just remember, folks, you got to take these storms seriously based on history. These are the ones that produced the tornadoes west of us that touched down. We've had so many reports of visual confirmation here. This is not just your typical Maryland, okay, maybe it's there, maybe it's not. You got to take this seriously. So if you're in Baltimore City right now, downtown Baltimore.
Look at this, it looks like some rotation
Yeah,
right over us.
if you're in a high rise, there's the best place for you to go is into the hallway. If you're in a high rise building, whether it's an apartment building or an office building or whatever, you got to get away from the windows, especially up high. If you're way up, 5th, 6th floor, 10th floor, it's very dangerous, to be near the windows. So make sure you head to an interior room, hallway, or a stairwell, especially. So, there's a lot of high-rise apartment buildings in Baltimore City. Go into the stairwell. That would be my best recommendation.
Looks like, Kai, have you got something? Oh, you're listening?
I'm listening
Trying
to
to
the
listen.
director.
We're trying to talk and listen in our ear as we're getting instructions and information coming in. And I'm just trying to show you here the wind speeds cutting right across the middle of Baltimore City. Now, this is very broad circulation, so it's not a guarantee that there's any kind of funnel cloud or tornado associated with it, but circulating storm system is moving right across the city of Baltimore, producing some very heavy rain. Be on the lookout for some flooding underneath this storm system for sure as it makes its way through. As we've showed you before, there's been some very heavy rain all around the region, and that's just now moving into Baltimore City, where a flood watch is in effect and flood warnings remain in effect through Hartford County up into Cecil County around the Havre de Grace area and along Interstate 95. Still have tornado warnings in effect for the southern part of Baltimore City, the eastern part of Baltimore County, and the southern part of Hartford County, where rotation still continues to show up in our radar returns. And these are the hot spots. You can probably now notify or see them, pinpoint them yourself after seeing so much of this evening, right in the city, and then right over there in the eastern part of Baltimore County. If we get a little closer to those locations, you can see what we're talking about up there near Chase and right through Baltimore City.
Okay, so on my Twitter feed right now,
Yep,
somebody
there you
sent me
go.
the picture. This is from Columbia, Tom.
Okay,
You
that's
can see
definitely
it.
a tornado.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost to the ground. So
Yep.
we're getting visual confirmation that, like when it went through Howard County, it was a tornado. I mean, it looks like it's touching the ground there. So this is from Columbia. It was posted just 15 minutes ago. Obviously, they were in their safe place and waited until it passed. Delencia Jenkins kind of tagged me on that one. So you can see it on my Twitter feed, Tony Pan, WBAL. But yeah, it produced a tornado in Howard County. I'm just going to say it. And so it might be doing the same thing in Baltimore City.
And just to let everybody know, I know we'll be talking about damage reports certainly in the morning when we can assess everything. But in terms of how strong these tornadoes are, we won't know until when. How does that all work?
It takes a couple of days.
It's going to take a
The
couple
Weather
days
Service have
before
to
we
go
know.
take a close examination and study of the damage is how they'll be able to determine. But they're definitely, that one in Montgomery County was definitely a strong tornado.
Oh, yes.
There's
I
no
mean,
doubt about it. We've seen pictures of that. So these aren't just little EF0s that kind of, sometimes we used to call them gust-nados. They would come with a severe thunderstorm and kick up real brief, little thin tornado and touch down briefly. These tonight seem, at least some of them seemed a lot stronger than that in the past couple of hours.
I'll say that one that we were talking about, you mentioned the Amazon facility in 2018. That was in November, which is also unusual,
Oh, wow,
right? And that was
yeah.
an
Yeah, that's right. It
EF1
was in
tornado.
November.
We
Yeah.
kind of get two seasons. We get the spring season and the fall when the weather patterns are changing, when the warm and the cold are colliding, when stronger fronts are moving through. So we kind of get a mini tornado season in the fall. The main one, though, is here in May, June, July for the Baltimore area, for sure. And then in the late summer, if we get dying tropical storms, they'll spin up some weaker tropical storm type tornadoes.
And this is what this reminds me of is,
Yeah.
the tornadoes that spin up in tropical systems because they're not really tall thunderstorms. They're not the typical, supercell storms, except that one in Montgomery County, I think you classify as a supercell.
Yeah. So these are the areas that you should be taking shelter now as far as tornado warnings go. You can see the hot spots that we're showing here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. These areas over here near just to the east of Chase, moving over into the southern part of Harford County, coming out of Baltimore County, east of Chase, and the very southern part there, south of Edgewood into Harford County. That cell appears to be making its way over east, maybe across the upper part of the bay. In the city of Baltimore, we also have some rotation still being indicated here. Now it's crossed the central part of the city, moving over into the eastern part of the city, moving toward Armistead Gardens. This area of rotation in this location is tracking east along US 40 over toward Armistead Gardens. And so you do want to take it seriously. We can't guarantee that there's any kind of a tornado associated with this rotation, but
again, the history.
The history has been that it has done some damage. It has produced funnel clouds and tornadoes, and that's now crossing through the eastern part of Baltimore City. So those are the two areas, and they show up very well, as you can see here on our wind speed indicator here, Baltimore City and Baltimore County, and all of that activity moving off to the east with things quieting down to the west of Baltimore. By looking at the radar, you can see west of Interstate 83, it's pretty much done now, at least for the time being. And all of the activity is now east in Baltimore or up into Harford and Cecil counties.
Well, when the storms conglomerate like that, that's actually good for tornado production, meaning it would be less likely, but it's also bad for rainfall because there is going to be a tremendous amount of rainfall with these storms, and there already has been parts of Harford and Cecil counties. So again, if you're going to be traveling late tonight, you got to be careful on the roads. And if you're listening to us on WBAL radio and driving down 95 up and down for either from Baltimore City or south from Cecil County, you're going to run into these storms, and it's just a good idea right now to pull over into a rest stop if you can and just wait it out.
Yeah, so again, we're continuing to monitor these areas and try to give you the all clear when we can give you the all clear. The warnings are continuing for many locations until 9:30. Those areas in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and the southern part of Harford County, those warnings go until 9:30. If the Weather Service drops them early, we'll certainly let you know. The one in Baltimore City looks broader, not as distinct, but still a history of producing damage. So in the eastern part of Baltimore City, be taking shelter. Watch out in Essex as this storm is moving in your direction. It's going to move over also toward possibly the Bowley's Quarters area as it makes its way to the northeast. So Essex, really from Overley to Essex to Bowley's Quarters coming out of Baltimore City, that's a powerful storm system that could do some damage. And then the system that's in the eastern part of the county, basically getting over into Harford County now, crossing the Baltimore-Harford County line. Hot spot there, as you can see on our wind returns, with a lot of wind shear now making its way through the far southern part of Harford County, south of Interstate 95, and perhaps moving over to the upper part of the bay. So the warnings are out there for those locations where we're still seeing strong rotation, and the warnings go until 9:35.
Okay, okay, go ahead, Kat.
Tom and Tony, we have Kyrie Stewart, who is out on the roads now. He's in Live Drive 11. I understand he's going to east on 695, I believe. Kyrie, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, that's right. We're heading east on 695 right now. This is how things look right now. Thankfully, there aren't too many cars out here, but of course, the roads are very slick. The rain isn't coming down too hard just yet. What we're going to do is that we're going to hit I-95 north, and we're going to check out Edgewood because we're hearing that there could be some damage out there. But Tony mentioned it earlier. You know, if you don't have to be out on the roads, please don't. Pull over if the rain gets too heavy. If you see any kind of funnel clouds, obviously, you do not want to be out on the roads in these kinds of conditions right now. So thankfully, there isn't too much traffic out here right now. The rain is coming down pretty lightly. The roads are slick, but we're going to hit 95. We're going to head up towards Edgewood because we're hearing that there could be some damage on Hanson Road up there. But again, we are on 695 East. Don't go out if you don't have to go out. Please play it safe out here. Back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, good news there. These warnings go until 9:30, and we're probably going to hear the reports of damage trickle in through the evening as people are able to get out and see what happened.
It seems like, especially west of Baltimore, Howard County, Montgomery County, saw the reports even from Carroll County. I'm sure we'll get some from Baltimore County as well. I don't know about the Baltimore City storm, but that is the one that produced the major tornado in Baltimore County. So again, you got to take these seriously, folks. These warnings are in effect for another 15 minutes. Just stay in your safe place until we can give you the all clear. And I think we can do that for areas west of Baltimore City.
Right.
I mean, anywhere west of Baltimore City, north or south on a line, I think you're okay for a while. But if you're watching us in Hartford, Cecil County, even parts of the eastern shore like Kent County, those storms are going to be crossing over and coming through your area. They're already coming through a lot of Cecil County, and it's mostly just heavy rain. I think the big story there is the flooding for sure.
Yeah. So the Weather Service, I was just reading in the chat, the cell that's been crossing through Baltimore City now and is about to go back into Baltimore County up there near Route 1. As it was coming across that area near Arbutus, the Weather Service was actually saying they did get a spotter report. I don't know if you reported this, Tony, or not. If you did, correct me. But at I-95 and 195 is where the National Weather Service got a spotter report of a confirmed tornado.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, yeah, so that was in the Arbutus area as it was coming into Baltimore City, and that's what prompted them to continue that warning. And you can see it was pretty hot coming across that area there when it was coming right through that I-95, 695 interchange.
Well, I showed you that video from the Columbia area.
Yeah.
It looked like a tornado. So, yeah, there was a tornado in there.
And that cell cut right across downtown Baltimore. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody spotted a funnel cloud here in the city or if it lifted or just came back down, but that same cell now is right on the city-county line again, up in the northeast part of Baltimore City and moving off to the north and east. So this is the same cell that's had a long, long history of producing tornadoes in the area. And right now it is near I-95 coming out of Baltimore City up toward the northeast part of the Baltimore Beltway. Not nearly as distinct or as ominous looking, but the track record of this storm has been pretty ominous as far as producing funnel clouds and tornadoes along the path of that storm. If you're watching us, listening to us up there in the northeast part of Overly, on the top side of the Beltway near Overly and I-95, 695 interchange, it's a pretty powerful storm headed in your direction, and you should be preparing for damaging winds and some very heavy rain coming through.
Let's, if you can, Tom,
Yeah.
pull up the correlation coefficient and go
Okay,
back
yeah.
in time and see if we can see a kind of a debris signature when it came through Howard or Western. I know it'll take you a second to get it going, but this, what Tom is showing you here, is a different scan on the radar. It actually sees things differently. If it's rain, it records one way. If it's like debris up in the air with wood or tree branches, it looks different. And sometimes you can see a little knot. It almost kind of looks like that in Howard County there. And that was when? An hour ago?
8 o'clock, yeah.
8 o'clock. So there might have been a tornado in there. I don't see it around Baltimore City now. Do you? Do you see any kind of signature there?
No. Not clear.
Not really.
Not
But
really, yeah.
there may have been a little debris kicking up with a weak tornado that went through Howard County. I'll be curious to see tomorrow if there are some reports.
And do we expect this to get through Baltimore City at 9:30? Is that when we're expecting it to expire there?
It's looking like it. As that
earlier.
storm is getting out of the city right now.
Okay.
So we've, looks like we do have some adjusted warnings here, but 2 cells still until 9:30, but a lot weaker, a lot better news coming out of these cells right now as far as that goes. Still a couple areas of rotation indicated up in the clouds coming out of the city into the county, near the 695, I-95 interchange there up near Overly, and also in the far southern part of Hartford County. Those two areas still have some rotation associated with them and some warnings associated with them until 9:30, but a much weaker version of storms we saw just about, 30, 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're not going to give you the all clear yet. We can't, just because these storms have had a history of doing a lot of not so good things. But Tom is showing you the area there where a flash flood warning is in effect, and that'll be a big story in the southern part of Hartford County. We've had 5-6 inches of rain.
Looks like even more. It looks like it's really estimating a lot of rain now.
I mean, there is some serious flooding happening there. So don't, again, if you're listening to us on BAL radio and you're driving down, say, Route 40 or even 95 through that part of Hartford County, you should just pull over for a second and let these storms pass, let the water kind of drain off the roads. That would be your best bet.
Well, I know that we've been having some of our reporters who are at home, and they've been sheltering in place and all of that. We've been seeing some tweets and getting some texts from them. I believe 11 News reporter Kim Dacey is on the phone right now. Kim, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Kim, where are you, and what has it been like riding out this storm for you all, your family?
Well, I'm at home in Columbia, and, we put the kids to bed, and my husband and I are sitting here talking, and his alert on his phone went off saying tornado warning. So we were like, oh no, for Howard County. So we turned you guys on, of course, and we're watching. And it looks like we've got video of out our window that we started watching. And we were kind of watching it to see if it was going to come our way. And we didn't want to really wake the kids and go downstairs unless we absolutely had to. But then we started looking out our window and watching, and we literally watched the clouds start rotating, and then we saw what we think was a funnel cloud. It's at the very end of the video that I think we're showing you now. And the whole time we're like, should we go? Should we not? We've got 2 young kids that were sleeping. So the minute we saw the funnel cloud, we said, okay, my husband went down the phone, and we went and grabbed the kids and literally
Sounds like
ran
that was
to
a
the
good
basement.
idea, right, Tony and Tom? Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead, Kim.
So it was, it was pretty scary. I've never actually seen a funnel cloud that close before, and it, we could see it in the distance. It didn't look like it was, coming our direction. But of course, you never know with these things. I mean, how many times have I covered stuff, that's happened in neighborhoods and damage from storms? And so we woke the kids up. My son actually slept right through it. I picked him up and grabbed him and ran to the basement. Wow. And my daughter was up, and, she was asking questions. And we were just trying to keep her calm because she sometimes gets nervous about these things. So we were like, it's just a storm. We're just down here just to make sure. And, sure enough, it's about 8:45 or so, exactly when you guys, said that it would expire. We were watching, on our phones in the basement, and, we were looking, to see when the storm was clear, and it was about 8:45 or so. So you guys were right on with that.
Kim, can you hear me? This is Tom Tasselmeyer. I don't know if you can,
hi, Tom.
Have you seen any damage? I mean, I know it's probably dark now and all, but did you have any damage in your area?
Well, I didn't see anything in our area out the window. It is dark, and we, of course, haven't been outside yet to assess our yard and trees and all of that. But we didn't hear anything when we were in the basement as far as like a tree falling or anything that would indicate that there was some kind of major damage. So
Are these your pictures we're seeing here?
Those are her pictures, right?
You sent us this video here, Kim?
Yeah, and it's really the last few seconds of the video where, and I also sent a still picture, which is a screen cap of what we think was the funnel cloud, and then of course it's only on for a second, and then we decided we need to get to the basement.
Yeah.
So there it is. There's the
we're
still
looking at that
picture.
still-
Yeah.
Good decision,
So
for sure.
Yeah, it looks like a funnel cloud to me, but I'm not a meteorologist, but we just didn't want to take any chances. So it looks like it was far enough away from our house that we probably don't have any significant damage, at least. But again, you never know when these things turn, or sometimes they, change direction. And so we didn't want to take any chances with the kids. We got the kids and the dog and went down to the basement.
Well, you made the right decision. That is for sure. That's what you do, Kim. That's for sure. I'm glad everybody is safe out that way. I hope you don't see too much in the way of debris around that area. I mean, like you say, it's probably far enough away where maybe you get up and about tomorrow, you'll see maybe down the road a bit, there may be some trees and things like that.
Yeah. It looks like the funnel cloud was in the area of about like 175 Snowden River in that area of Columbia. I can't be sure, but it looks, I don't know if it ever touched the ground, but, it was certainly scary enough that we took the kids down. But thank you guys for being on the air. I mean, now I see as a viewer how important it is for you guys. we were like staring like at the, waiting for the latest movement of, the red and green and to see if it was coming our way. And first it was south and it looked like it was going a different way. And then we were like, oh my gosh, that's right in our path.
Right.
So we literally opened the blinds on the window and we're staring out there. And that's when we saw it. And we were like, all right, we need to go. We didn't want to wake the kids unless we had to. I know. But we decided it was worth it.
Certainly. Well, Kim, thank you so much for giving us a call and letting us know what you experienced out there. Kim, thank you. I know that you were looking at the map here of the latest of what we're seeing. Are we seeing any rotation with?
Yeah, well,
clouds
first of all,
where we are
let
right
me
now?
say that the warning has been canceled for Baltimore City.
Okay.
Looks like the cell has moved out of Baltimore City, and that's a good thing. There is still a warning in effect for that sliver of the eastern part of Baltimore County around Essex. And Tom and I were looking at the radar scan for that little part right there. Remember, I told you a little while ago that our computer system can do like an automatic scan of the storm, and it hits these little skits like that, we call them, and they show rotation and whether there's hail in the storm and stuff like that. And for the first time, not on this scan here, but a few scans ago,
I'll put that on. Let's go
yeah,
back
we saw what we call a TVS, or a tornado vortex signature on that. And, you know, these storms have not shown that kind of a signature. It was just a while ago.
Yeah.
It was like on one scan there, Tom.
Yeah. Kyrie's live shot. Is Kyrie still in live drive 11? Yeah. Kyrie, what are you seeing out there? Looks like some very heavy rain. I don't know if he can
Hey,
hear
can
us.
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you
he
hear
is.
me?
Yep.
Hey, sorry about that. So we are on, we actually hit 95. We were on 695 earlier. We're on 95 north right now. Visibility is very, very bad out here. Most of the cars that are out on here, you can't see it right now. Well, you see one car right here, but most of them had their hazard lights on a short while ago. It's actually kind of cleared up within the past few seconds, but only just about maybe not even 5 minutes ago, the rain was really coming down out here, guys. Like, you could hardly see the lanes. I was talking to my photographer. I was just like, whoa, you know, slow down. You know, like he has been going slow. But if you are out on the roads, you do want to take it slow out here. If you don't have to be out on the roads, please stay at home. And if you're within that tornado warning, like Tom and Tony, we've been saying pretty much all night, please shelter in place. Don't come out here if you don't have to be out here. Again, we're going to try to get off at the Edgewood exit because we're hearing reports of damage in that area. But right now we're on I-95 North. Rain isn't coming down too bad right now, but earlier it was. Only about 5 minutes ago, it was coming down pretty heavy. Visibility is very bad. There's even lightning out here, as you can see too. So we're going to continue to track the conditions around here, and we'll give you guys updates in the next few minutes. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kyrie Stewart live in Live Drive 11. Thank you, Kyrie. It doesn't look like it's raining too hard where he is at this point.
Yeah, that's good news. I think the worst of the weather is starting to move off to the east as far as the heavy rain goes, and these are the last little tornado warnings. As you can see, they're on the very western edge of the activity. This is the Edgewood area?
40 West.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So
there's standing
splashing
water there for sure,
standing water,
yeah.
still raining. You see the puddles still picking up some rain. So flooding is still an issue in areas where that rain is coming down. And I mean, we've seen estimates of 3, 5, 6 inches of rain just this afternoon and evening with some of these storms. So torrential amounts of rain.
Well, we can give you the all clear for Baltimore City and points on west. Right now, we're focusing on the eastern part of Baltimore County and the southern part of Harford County. There are 2 tornado warnings that are still in effect for those areas until 9:30. We're waiting to see if the Weather Service is going to extend them or not. As Tom circled right there, there is still some circulation in there, meaning there could be a funnel cloud or even a weak tornado in there. So stay in your safe place for a little while longer, and we'll let you know if they actually let these warnings expire. That one looks like it's maybe heading out over the bay now, the circulation. So that's good news if you're watching near the shoreline in Harford County. In that little circle right there that Tom has, looks like the circulation has gone over the water. There might be a water spout in that one. But the only one that's over land right now that might have a circulation in it is perhaps still this one in eastern Baltimore County, between White Marsh, Middle River, and maybe northwest or northeast of Essex, near Bowley's Quarters.
Interesting to see sort of these double areas here if possible, you know?
Yeah, those little, we call them couplets,
Yeah.
where when you see the red and the green together, if you haven't been watching our coverage for the last hours, where the red and the green come together, that's where we think there is rotation in a thunderstorm. So when you see the red and the green together, especially where they come right together, that's where the possibility is at least.
And you can see this motion here over the past couple of minutes from north of Middle River, south of White Marsh, moving toward Chase. Pretty good little return just popped up there.
Right, that
the brighter
bright yellow.
colors tend to be higher wind speeds, so a 71-mile-an-hour wind being detected by the radar site up in the clouds there. So that's some strong winds associated with that storm. And the colors are indicating the direction of motion. So what we're seeing here is the red areas are moving away and the greens are moving toward the radar site down in Virginia. And so there is still some rotation indicated there. And so if you are watching us or listening to us here in the eastern part of Baltimore County, and we just had a new warning come out, it looks like this is...
I think they're going to extend the Baltimore County
10-15?
one.
Yeah, probably for this cell that we're looking at here, as far as it's still a hot spot, if you want to call it that, as far as possible warnings go. So that area has been extended. It looks like maybe out to here. Let's see if we can, we've got so many warnings now overlaid on top of each other that they're actually...
Well, the one should expire and go away at
Yeah,
9:30,
yeah.
The old one.
And then they extended up toward Chase and that
Yeah, because
Harford
that's
County
what we were
line.
just talking about, so.
Yeah, so this one up here in Harford County will end at 9:30, and the one along the Beltway, really, in Baltimore County will expire. But the one
Yeah.
that we've been talking about for that strong circulation showing up south of White Marsh, and that's pretty strong again. It's unfortunately, it looks like it's strengthened a little bit here. Just to the west of Chase. Be on the lookout in Chase. You should be taking shelter. That's a pretty strong storm headed your way.
That return, the yellow there was what, 70?
70, yeah.
I mean, okay, so that, even if it is a weak tornado, okay, that's one thing, but it could just be a downburst.
Yeah.
It's 70-mile-per-hour wind, doesn't matter if it's a tornado. It can still knock a tree down on top of your house, so head to your safe place, and that last scan, it looked like it went away, so
Yeah,
that's a
little
good thing.
We just,
I
yeah.
think we have some video from Harford County. Director Doug, do we have
Okay.
that? Live cam, this is Harford County. Aberdeen? Oh, okay, you see, there's a car that's stuck in the water there.
And the police have blocked off the road there. There's obviously standing water, and they're turning cars away, it looks like at the top of that that screen there. So
This is Aberdeen.
Yeah, in Aberdeen.
I
So
need a
just
new
be prepared.
IFB.
Again, if you're driving anywhere in that area, you gotta, what's the old phrase? I've been on the air so long. Turn around, don't drown. Yeah,
Yeah.
turn around, don't drown. I know you don't want to, take a little extra time, but all it takes is 12 inches of running water to displace your car, and only 6 inches, believe it or not, to knock you over. So if you get stuck and you have to get out of your car, in this kind of a situation, you could get carried away pretty easy.
Yeah, for sure. So we are still watching that warning, which has been extended there in the eastern part of Baltimore County, heading up toward the southern part of Harford County for that area of rotation that we see there. And other rotation possible up here on the top side of the bay, but no warnings issued for them. This warning goes until 10:15 now, has been extended for that area. It was going to go until 10:15. And so you do want to be very careful there in that eastern part of Baltimore County, heading over toward the Harford County line. This is an area of strong rotation, a history of producing funnel clouds and tornadoes with that storm system that's coming out of that area, and it's moving off to the east and northeast. And it looks like in the past couple of minutes, this cell has gotten a bit stronger. I mean, that's the takeaway from the last couple of runs here of our radar scan. What you see here, when you see this on just the precipitation intensity, when that white shows up, that's a pretty strong core there where there's very heavy rain or even hail associated with it. Most of it's just been rain this evening as far as that goes, and some lightning strikes have shown up. So additional lightning strikes, more intense precipitation, an intensifying of the storm system itself as it moves through the eastern part of Baltimore County, and possibility of a couple little areas here where we could have some rotation showing up with this cell, possibly even 2 areas, but the Weather Service has issued and identified it as a possible tornado for that area, and the warning goes until 10:15 from eastern Baltimore County into the far southern part of Harford County as the storm makes its way off to the north and east at roughly 15 to 20 miles an hour. I've got this radar scan set for 30 minutes. I'm going to back it up 30 minutes, and you'll see that cell was right over the middle of Baltimore City at the time. So we'll mark it there 30 minutes ago and then advance to where it is right now in the past 30 minutes. And it's up here now in the eastern part of Baltimore County. And so that storm has traveled in the past 30 minutes about 13, 14 miles. So in an hour, it's going 26 miles an hour, 28 miles an hour. Using that, we can kind of give you a feel for where the cell is going to be over the course of the next few minutes, moving off to the northeast at about 25 miles an hour. It's going to put that storm with possible tornado up into Edgewood at 9:46, Bush River 9:54, Perryman at 10 o'clock tonight if it holds together and moves on that path.
It's interesting you mentioned the possible hail, and I was asking you about that
Yeah.
about an hour ago in terms of what, at what point do you see hail with storms like this? And,
Yeah.
and you were kind of explaining why we had not seen it yet.
Yeah, at the time, Tony was talking about them being low-topped storms. These storms were not building up very high into the atmosphere. These are only up to around 39,000 feet. The big hail producers get up over 50,000 feet. So up where the air is much colder, the rain gets pushed up into that cold, freezing air. The raindrops freeze, they collect on each other, they build into hailstones, and they fall. But when the cloud tops are as low as they've been today, there is not as much of a threat for hail. I can put on our hail product here, and this is now trying to detect where we see possible hail. And you notice there's nothing on our screen. So these have not been significant hail producers, just
No.
very heavy rain.
Very heavy rain and tornado producers.
Tornado producers. And
unfortunately. And that cell still looks like it's pretty healthy right there.
Yeah, it does. It's,
So,
it has intensified a little bit in the past few minutes as far as the precipitation goes. You can see that higher return there, and
It's still amazing to
still
me
amazing.
that these storms are intensifying like that while they're moving into an area where the storm's already passed. Because
Right.
normally, like I said, if you get a storm to go through an area, it kind of takes the energy out of the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
But these storms, even though they're going into those kinds of areas, still have enough what we call dynamics with them to rejuvenate. So there is a lot of directional wind shear in the atmosphere right now, meaning the winds are veering with height. So at the surface, like around Chase right there, the wind might be coming out of the southeast at the surface, but aloft, the winds might be coming out of the west or northwest, and that's what gets the spin, and that's what we've been showing you over the last couple of hours. But that's a pretty healthy cell right there near Chase. So go to your safe place if you're in that area of Baltimore County.
for sure, just north of Bully's Quarter there near Chase, about to make it to the Hartford-Baltimore County line into an area that's had a lot of heavy rain over the past couple of hours, and now a possible funnel cloud or tornado associated with that cell moving in that direction. And the warning goes until 10:15. And the National Weather Service, to see if they've updated us on any kind of additional warnings or watches they're going to be issuing.
You see anything on that? I don't see
Cecil
anything.
County tornado, have we had that yet?
No. Are they going to issue for
Until-
that?
until 10:15?
Oh, yeah, there's a new warning for
Yeah.
Cecil County, the southern
Yeah.
part of Cecil County.
So the National Weather Service says that this one is radar indicated, and expecting the storm to be, the storm is capable of producing a tornado over Betterton, near Aberdeen Proving Ground, moving east at 25. So that's about the pace we thought they were moving. And it's going to be moving off to the north and east and get it near Cecilton at 9:40, Warwick at 9:50. And that storm system, again, I'll show you that on there you see the southern part of Cecil County. So it's the same basic cells that have been moving from, believe it or not, all the way across Montgomery, Howard, Baltimore City, eastern Baltimore County, continuing now tracking up toward the upper part of the bay and now aimed at the southern part of Cecil County in the course of the next few minutes. That warning goes until 10:15. So,
Boy, we're in the thick of it, aren't we? I mean,
yeah.
Hopefully, this isn't a dumb question here, but what happens as it goes over the water like that? Does it lose some intensity?
no, sometimes that the bay can actually enhance the spin
boy.
of a thunderstorm. So as they cross the
there
water,
we
you can
go.
see a
There we go.
TVS cell right there.
TVS.
This is the one, Kai, that I was talking about just a few minutes ago. So this is our system analyzing the storm automatically. And see that little twisting motion right there? That's what we call a TVS, or tornado vortex signature. And we haven't seen that too often
No.
on these, even though we know for sure that they've been producing tornadoes, because we've got the video, we've got the reports and all that stuff, but we haven't seen that a whole lot. And that cell is crossing the bay. So it's interesting that you just said that. Okay, so the bay might be enhancing the circulation on that particular cell right there.
So heads up in Chesapeake City. This storm system that's crossing the upper part of the bay going to be in your area by 10:15, and it's crossed right across that southern part of Cecil County. When it's out over the waters, it would be a waterspout. When it's over land, it's a tornado.
But it's important. It's important to say, yeah. It's just
different
semantics.
terminology.
Yes. So
Terminology.
it's a tornado
Yep.
when it comes on shore, but a water spout over the water, it's the same thing.
And Kai, really the only time that bay might have an impact is if the bay was really cold, and it might
I
have
see.
zapped some of the strength. But waters are warming up enough, and it's not a wide enough area of water to really kind of zap it. So that storm will get over there and impact that location. So 2 warnings now until 10:15 coming out of Baltimore County into Hartford County and across the southern part of Cecil County. And we can monitor these things when we track them with the wind speeds. And again, very kind of now more disorganized, I'd call it, for most areas around the Baltimore area, but still enough rotation and shear for the Weather Service to be concerned that there might be some storm systems in there that could produce a tornado. And this is the motion over the course of the past hour as those cells move through the region. You can kind of really spot them here now as they track across the city and then out over the bay and
The people have been watching us long enough now. They know what to look at on this map here.
Starting to see them very easily now.
So again, this is not showing you the rain, in case you are just tuning in, perhaps. This is not showing you the rain. This is a cross-section of our radar analyzing the wind speed and direction in the storms, and that's how we can tell where tornadoes could be. When we see the areas of green and red together, we call those a couplet. And when you see them really close together and bright colors, that's a strong indication that there could be some sort of a funnel or maybe even a weak tornado
So
in there.
this cell coming into Cecil County being picked up pretty well by the Dover, Delaware, over at the Air Force Base there. Their radar picking it up pretty good here where they're starting, Weather Service may be using that to issue that warning as far as seeing a pretty good signature there as far as rotation, and same thing down here in the southern part of Hartford County as the storm system comes through. And those are the areas that are now under warnings for our region for possible tornadoes. So be in your safe spot for sure up there in Cecil County as that strong cell crosses the bay, or in the eastern part of Baltimore County and southern Hartford County as well. These are your safe spots in a home. Basement, the safest. Lowest level safe, interior rooms, interior bathrooms, under stairwells, in stronger bathroom areas, away from windows. That's where you definitely want to be for a safe spot in a tornado situation like we've had this evening. And then you just, like Kim Dacey, kind of wait for the storm to pass you by. You can monitor it on your phone. You can wait for the sound of the storm to pass you by and just stay in sheltered places until the system can clear through your region.
It's better safe than sorry, right?
Yep, for
I
sure.
mean, and again, this is kind of a rare event for us here in Maryland. We don't see tornado outbreaks like this very often. And a day when you might be saying, hey, there was no tornado watch in effect, there was no severe thunderstorm watch in effect. Sometimes the atmosphere surprises us. And this was one of those days. We could see the hints, on the modeling up until this point. That's why we had this day out as an impact day for weather. But I must say that this is pretty unusual, Tom, to have
and I think we should mention, as you and I always talk about it, thunderstorms can produce tornadoes. I mean, you don't,
Exactly.
a watch doesn't have to be issued.
and this is a perfect example.
And there were thunderstorms in the forecast today. And so whenever you hear that, you should keep in the back of your mind, if this storm gets severe, this thunderstorm can produce a tornado.
And even if they don't, if microburst winds, downburst winds, if they're 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, you can still get damage like a weak tornado. Okay?
Well, Tony and Tom, I want to say thank you for keeping us safe. To go from 6, at the most of it, 6 tornado warnings.
like,
I don't even
now
remember when
2.
we started. When did we start? I don't know.
6 o'clock, we're still in the thick of it, but thank you for keeping us
Yeah.
safe. Ashley is going
All right.
to take it, come
All right,
in and
Kai,
help us out.
thank you,
now.
Kai.
Hi,
Thanks for helping
yeah,
out.
thank you so much, guys. Just joining you. Wow, you guys have been pretty busy, staying on.
You have family and friends in and around the area on the west
do,
side in
yeah.
Howard County. Any damage
Yeah,
out
I
there?
was actually heading through that area as well, and really not too bad.
Okay.
I was over on 40, also western Howard County over out near Glenelg, and really nothing too bad. I mean, some tree branches are down.
Okay.
But nothing too severe. I mean, I did see that video from Kim Dacey, the funnel cloud kind of forming. That was pretty interesting. And then some of the I guess videos that Tony was posting too. But nothing that I saw.
Yeah.
But I think we have
It's like
Tori.
it was Columbia and South.
Col-
that were,
yeah.
more hit by it. Yeah.
Sure.
Who we got now?
Tori Orgi with
Okay.
us. Is that correct? Tori, are you okay? There she is.
here.
Tori, where are you at, and what are you seeing?
Yeah, I am in Gaithersburg, so this is Montgomery County, Maryland, and we are at a structural collapse. A home collapsed here. We're going to try and show you what we can. Kyle behind the camera got the light on there. You could see this home is just completely destroyed. Now, we talked with the Assistant Chief Administrative Officer for the county. He tells us that there were 5 people trapped in here. This is off Dogwood Drive, and they call this area Old Time Gaithersburg for those familiar here in Montgomery County. But this is Dogwood Drive. There were 5 people trapped, 1 conscious patient, but then we know 1 person was also possibly pinned in this home. We're learning that from the assistant chief there. He says all 5 were taken to the hospital, but believe they have non-life-threatening injuries, and this is just one area that they received damage. They say they know at least 1 huge tree fell on this home. They believe, though, possibly 2 fell on it, and we can see the damage there, and they have this taped off here. This entire neighborhood is covered by debris. First responders, we got people that are in the area coming by to kind of look at the scene, check it out. They just can't believe what's before their eyes here. So first responders and police. But look at this tree. This tree is completely uprooted. So there you go. That's the tree that you can see that's fallen on top of this home here, again, on Dogwood Drive in Gaithersburg. So we know 5 people were inside. They all were removed. 1 was pinned. 1 was transported as a trauma patient because their injuries were described to me as moderate, but I clarified and I'm told that they have non-life-threatening injuries. But again, this is just one area here in the neighborhood. There's about 2 other spots at least that we're seeing reports of large trees on homes, and some occupants were inside those homes. So this is the worst spot, though, I'm told by that administrative chief, that this is the worst damage in the area right now that they know of. They do believe that, of course, the storm has passed. He tells me he believes maybe 2 tornadoes touched down here. Of course, they're working to clarify that with the National Weather Service, but just once again, Dogwood Drive here. We are going to go check out the other areas, which are about a few blocks away from us here. Again, in Gaithersburg, Montgomery County, and I'll come back to you guys live with the damage there once we see it. But again, reports of trees just on homes, some people inside. I did ask if there were any life-threatening injuries reported throughout the entire county, and he tells me at this point, no, they are all non-life-threatening injuries. So that is some good news. It's very scary. We saw the funnel cloud ourselves on the way up here on Route 29. And it was very scary, so I can't imagine what these people must have felt being inside their homes witnessing that. But I'll send it back to you for now.
Yeah, Tori, just a quick question for you. I mean, like you said, you were driving, you saw the funnel cloud. Did you see any other damage on your way out there? I know you said this was the worst of it, but how do the roads look?
Yeah, they look a lot of debris. I mean, and that cloud came with so much wind. It was the darkest cloud I ever saw in my life, seriously. And there was heavy rain. There was a lot of wind while we were on Route 29, kind of south of Columbia there. But if you even look at the ground here, we can see just it's debris. And this is kind of what it looks like throughout Gaithersburg. Once we got off of the main drag there is when we really kind of started seeing this debris on the roads. But that's kind of the main thing right now is a lot of branches and debris down on the roadways. And they did warn some wires are down too, of course. Sure. So we're being careful where we're stepping. Yeah. And please continue to be careful, Tori. We appreciate you going out there and Thank you.
Showing us. Thank you so much. All right, Tony Pan, you're taking a look at the radar right now. What do we have here? What's the latest?
Just to recap, we've got 2 tornado warnings still in effect, and it's for these storms here that you can see on your screen. The one moving through the southern part of Harford County, and the other one in Cecil County. This storm right here, and this storm right here in Cecil County. So let's do a little bit of an analysis on this using the wind fields here. Remember, actually, we've been talking about when you see the red and the green coming together, like right here, this is a possibility that there could be a bit of circulation in there, maybe a tornado. So that area just south of Abingdon, near the water, this is Middle River over here. And perhaps this part of the storm going through actually right on the line between Kent and Cecil County, like going in that direction. This part of the storm here might have some sort of rotation in it. So let's zoom in there and just try to hit some of the counties and cities that might be affected. So these storms are moving to the east at about 15 miles per hour. So some of the cities that might be affected, Cecilton at pretty close to 1020, and the areas around Cecilton shortly after that. But again, like Tom was saying, don't take those times, verbatim. Like if it said 1033 on the map, doesn't mean it's going to hit exactly at 10.
Just an estimate.
33. It's just an estimate there. But I'm going to try to circle a couple of the areas here. This one here, that's one we're still watching, and this one down here in the southern part of Harford County. Both of those are near the water, and we were talking about how the water could maybe enhance the possibility of some rotation. So if you're watching in those areas, make sure you go to your safe place. Maybe we can zoom in just a little bit closer on some of these. This one here up around Chesapeake City looks kind of interesting. It's a very broad rotation, but if you're watching around Chesapeake City, I don't think you guys are in this tornado warning here, but I would go to your safe place anywhere in Cecil County, definitely. Just out of an abundance of caution, we try to pinpoint these things, and sometimes
exactly.
not in this kind of a situation.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the person who, that tree fell on their house in Montgomery County, probably wasn't expecting that at all. So nothing you can actually really declare as what's going to happen. But
so let's, a lot of people are watching. They want to know, is it okay now? We can give you pretty much the all clear from the Harford, Baltimore County line in points on west now. The storms have cleared Anne Arundel County. They've cleared Howard County. In Montgomery County, where we just saw the video, there's maybe just a couple of showers there. Where is that video
we're
from?
taking a look at some video from earlier, as you can tell, more daylight. Guys, where is this at? Poolsville.
In Poolsville, yeah.
Same street Tori was on. There's that tree that got uprooted and fell on that house. I was thinking, Tony, it hasn't been too rainy the past few days, and that's good news, right? For a lot of the trees, they don't.
We got a new one. I'm going to let you get on your system.
Right.
Let's take a look.
Tom
It should be
Passmeyer stepping
Kent
in
County.
now. Tom, what's the latest here?
I just thought I saw weather service or Kent.
Northern part of Kent County, right.
All right.
Yeah. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying, I guess if there's a silver lining here, it hasn't been raining too hard the past couple of days, and because the ground wasn't so saturated, hopefully that helped some of the trees maybe stay in the ground versus come up. I mean, do you notice a difference with that versus?
I think maybe that may be the reason why the National Weather Service did not issue a flood watch
For the entire area.
the entire area. There were some spots in the north that weren't under a flood watch, probably because it was a little dry.
Okay, that's good.
But areas in Baltimore and Point South were under the watch, and the warnings are out here now. But as we were just mentioning, and Tony was highlighting some of those areas that have we've been seeing the circulation. A new warning has
And
just
that's
been
a new
issued
warning just came from,
for northern Kent County on the eastern shore. So the action is definitely shifting east now and focusing on Cecil County, Kent County, far southern part of Harford County, but just a whole long series of storms that have been making their way through the area, and getting out of range of the Sterling site, but still picking up on rotation there. Now the Dover radar site is a little closer, maybe hitting the storms a little lower, but definitely these were the areas you were highlighting, correct, Tony? I mean,
right.
So this is the one now right on the Cecil-Kent County line.
That's the one I think has the most potential
Yeah.
for maybe producing something. If you go back one or two
That's
scans.
the one that had the TVS on it?
Yeah, that's the one that had the TVS on it in our system. So again, a lot of that area, right around the Kent, Kent and Cecil County line, you should be heading to your safe place if you can. Cecilton, you guys look like I was saying a few minutes ago, you guys might be in line for that.
Yeah.
So areas around Cecilton, keep that in mind as well. So Eastern Shore, it's your turn now.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? We're still watching this one over here in the southern part of Harford County, but looks a little weaker on the latest returns. And just looking at rainfall totals or rainfall precipitation coming through, still a strong cell there. There's a very intense precipitation being indicated by the radar with these bright spots on our radar here, and a lot of lightning strikes. So this storm may be cycling up or down and get stronger as it moves over into the northern part of Kent County as well. So a couple still hot spots there, as Tony mentioned, heading over toward the eastern shore, and we're keeping a close eye on that for these warnings that go until 10:15 in the area. You go and you look at the National Weather Service reports that are coming into them, and there are all kinds of reports of people citing these things. So, I mean, usually it would take days for them to go out and see if we actually had a tornado.
But, well, this is the modern era, right?
Yeah.
We can get the video sent to us instantly, and so can the National Weather Service, and they have trained spotters all over the place, and you know, if it's somebody that they trust and they know have gone through their spotter training, and they say, hey, there's a funnel cloud in there, then yeah, that's visual confirmation. It's not like they just go through, like I'm doing, going through a Twitter feed and say, okay, yeah, the National Weather Service will only use reports from people that they know have been trained to do this.
Well, speaking of spotters, we don't have a trained one, but Kyrie Stewart, he's out in Live Drive 11 right now. Kyrie, are you spotting anything out there? What's it looking like? And are you in Edgewood? Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm in Edgewood right now, in the Edgewood area. We're on Foster Knoll Road. We've been going all around the Edgewood area. When we got here, I want to say probably about maybe like 20, 25 minutes ago, the rain was coming down really, really hard. Visibility was very low. It was even hard to see. Like the lines or the lanes on the road. But things have cleared up since, as you can see right now. There's really not anything coming down. One thing that I do want to mention, and one thing that, you know, I know that Tom and Tony, they've been talking about, turn around, don't drown, you know, that age-old saying. That is something that anybody who's out right now really needs to keep in mind, because we've been seeing a lot of ponding on roads up here, so much ponding. And a lot of it is in the residential areas. We're going through a residential area right now. But that is something you do want to keep in mind. Turn around, don't drown. If you cannot see the road because it's covered by water, you do not want to go through that. So that is one thing that we've been seeing a lot of. As far as damage, we haven't seen too much structural damage. I haven't really seen any at all. You know, we came up here because we heard reports of damage right along Hanson Road. We actually went up and down Hanson Road. We haven't seen anything. But right now we're going down Foster Knoll Road. And again, we haven't really seen much. The big thing up here to me just really seems to be just the ponding on the roads. And you don't see a lot of it here, but back where we were earlier, there was a lot of ponding. In fact, I was talking to my photographer about it too, you know. So again, turn around, don't drown. Just keep that in mind. The rain hasn't been coming down too heavy lately, but it was coming down heavy earlier. We're going to continue to drive around the area and bring you guys updates. We'll give you guys another update in the next few minutes. But back to you guys in the studio.
All right.